Hey guys, Mark back here again with you. Welcome to the channel. This is another edition of the Standards Navigator. So this is Desafinado, a classic Jobim tune that we'll look into now for, of course, strategies for comping, how to approach, understand the progression, how to understand that melody. This is a ginormous form. It fits on 2 pages in the new real book. And just case in point, lots of really good versions, really good studies for this, which is the tune that we selected for this month as a challenge in the Jazz Star Fellowship. Free link, of course, in the description to join. What I want to point out is there's one of my favorite recordings, if not the favorite. It's a Quincy Jones arrangement. It's a big band arrangement of that tune. It's fantastic. And if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Jim Hall is playing guitar on that. So check out that recording and let's dig right in. So the first thing to note about the form of Desafinado is like, look at the size of that thing. Even with iReal, it populates a lot of chords. So if you've played songs in the past, such as Girl from Ipanema, you're like, okay, it's AABA and there's a bridge, it's contrasting. Or if you've played Blue Bossa, 16 bars, done. This one is different in that it sort of looks like an A, then to B, then to A. But the last A has sort of an extension that's a tiny bit different. And the B section starts early on. So there's some gimmicky stuff happening, like it goes to A major before it gets to the bridge, which we'll get into in a moment, to a point where I'm inviting you to be mindful, because myself at local jams or during gigs, I had a tendency to, admit it, no shame, I got lost. Like I'm like, where am I? I could not recover my spot in the form because there's that tricky A, that's A major, that's A major, that's A major again. Then it goes to C. And it's sort of weird before we hear the staple, like the and it sort of comes surprising. So be mindful of that, but we'll get into the analysis just now. So to get started, classic line using a note that sounds or that feels a bit out of tune. So we are in the key of F major, right? And we go to that note, that C sharp right here, is present twice. Actually, one time it's going to be, let me outline this in red. So it's going to be called a C sharp, and this time it's going to be called a D flat, but it's the same pitch, if you will. And desafinado in Portuguese means, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit out of tune. So that's in the spirit of the song, right? Really cool. And what we start with, of course, is 2 bars of F major. No big deal. So the melody, I'm not going to make a fuss about it, although I may refer to the melody for scale degree analysis, so it gives pointers as far as which scales and arpeggios to learn. So if you can play F major, you're all set for those. And then we go to the classic Girl from Ipanema move, which is going to a 2 chord, that's a dominant. And notice we have the sharp 11, and there's a flat 5 on the chart on the right here. I much prefer to think about it and see it like a sharp 4 myself, because all it does is we can begin with our good old basic G Mixolydian, right? And just add a sharp 4. 1, 2, 3, sharp 4. Or up an octave. And it's great because it allows us to keep all these melody notes the same. We can reuse that part. If you guys are more well-versed in that world, you can think about it like D melodic minor. That's the 4th mode melodic minor. So I know we're already 4 minutes in, going into the deep end. Sorry about that. But basically, we go from an F major to a 2. And then we go to a 2 and a 5, which is not surprising. We are taking the same motif, which we had. Now we go, which is the motif 1 scale degree higher. Then we do a 2 to a 5 and do a 3 to a 6. So 3-6, if you guys are not familiar, it's really encountered a lot, because the 3 and the 6 as a cell is exactly the 2-5 in the key of G minor, which is the 2. So some people call this a jazz turnaround, would say 3-6-2-5 or 2-5-3-6. So here's 2, here's 5, here's 3, here's 6. If you want to play it safe and improvise, notice that melody note here. You could use only G harmonic minor for that duration right here, and you would hit most of the good notes. So recap: F major 2 bars, Mixolydian with a raise 4, 2 bars, then onto a 2 and 5, that's all in the key of F, and then going to G minor. Some of you guys, that's going to be plenty. You can take that to the woodshed, rehearse those 8 bars for a week or 2 until you have a really good sound. So what I want to do is keep this video short and intuitive, and if you want to dig deeper, there's way more resources on the website. You can join the community, ask your questions, but let me show you how we could improvise on this, and snippet of ideas. Oh, look at the fretboard. That's my sweaty palms, guys. It's just me laying here and the fretboard just gets like dark. No wonder I ruined my strings within like an hour. So I'm going to set this on repeat. Tip for iReal Pro users, you can hold down the mouse cursor and drag, and it will repeat just these bars. So let me do 1 round of just playing the melody, and then 1 round of comping, and maybe 1 round of just improvising with these ideas. And I'll call them out as I go. 2, 3, 4. Okay, comp. Just an F major, right to a G9. Watch out for the 3. Okay, improvise. Good. I love the fact that iReal has added a feature when we loop now, it will highlight the bars that are looping. This is a new feature, I think, from yesterday, which is fantastic. Also, key points for singers. If you want a keynote, you hit the click 1 and you go to keynote. So you will see that it's going to give you the beginning note of the melody. It's giving you the key it's in. So it's giving you the F. So it's giving you the song the key is in, which is really, really useful. I still prefer my cowbell, for the record. Good. So employing that strategy, you could break down the rest of the song and make decisions. For instance, here I decided to use G minor. Okay, cool. Here's just a 2-5, here's a 2-5, etc. So having that approach ahead of time is really practical, and you can even print out a sheet like this and go and highlight on top of it and go, this is my soloing strategy. Now for the remainder of this video, as to not make this more complicated and go over every scale choice, it's probably going to be honestly, a lot of 2-5s, it's major, minor, or dominant, right? I'm going to outline the things to look out for. What I love about having a chart like this is it seems more legible and clearer when you look at it on 2 pages, right? Like that. However, that's a drawback. It's 2 pages and it's only 4 bars per line, per staff, and it uses a convoluted first repeat, second repeat. So I'll run you guys through this because that's one of the reasons I got lost. And so that's the pros and cons. Pros of iReal, it's just 1 page. Con, it's 8 bars to a staff, which is pretty long. But the pro is that it's not using that first repeat, second repeat mentality. So let me break it down to make it more easily followable. Not a word, but still my new word. So if I look at this, went 1, 2, 2, 5, 3, 6, good. And then that next section we haven't talked about, it goes to 2. Then that's the 5 of D. So D7 is the 6, which is expected again because we've heard 3, 6 again. 6, 6 dominant, 2. And then that's a 5. The G flat is a 5 tritone sub. And even on scores like this, you will see a C. So it's a pretty straight ahead chord progression with some very basic characteristics. You go, oh yeah, that's Desafinado. It doesn't appear in a lot of songs in that way, but it's easy to hear where it's going. So 6 with the flat 9, okay, and then 2 with a flat 9, which is different. These 2 2s, this G is different than this G because this is really a G altered, while this one is more of only the sharp 4 will be altered, as I mentioned. So if you have questions about this, drop me a comment. But here, we will go first 8, 16, is that right? First 16 bars is starting here at the double bar line and going into what they call the first box. There's a tiny one, I don't know if you see it on the screen, and you go up to here until you reach that point. Then you go back to the top here and you run the gamut again until you reach that box and go, no, I'm not going to go in first box, I'm going to go in second box. On my iReal equivalent, it would be going back here and doing all that work and then going like, no, I'm going second box. So second box of the repeat is funny because it starts the same way. So it goes to 2, but then it goes to 4 minor, back to 1, and it's going to prepare us to go to that infamous A major, which is the hiccup, the part I mentioned you that I constantly get lost in. So notice how the first 8 bars are the same, and bar 9 is the same, but then here is where it breaks loose, right? So we effectively make a transition from F major to an A major. Woo! Woohoo! That's like in the Coltrane matrix in a way, right? So we go ta da da dee da 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 dee da da. Same head da 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 dee da da. Da 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 dee. Back to 1. Then our good old E. This guy. Da dee da dee da 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 dee dee. It's almost like tongue-in-cheek a little bit, that point. Good. So now we've covered the first half. And then after that first half, again, I love that chart. Unfortunately, that B section starts at the last line of the first page. I'm like, why didn't you put this up there? Right? And we have a whole section of 1625, 1625, 1625, but in A, and in C. And you guys will tell me, well, it's not a true 1625 yet. You can say the diminished passing it's acting as a 6. So again, 1625, 3625, really common jazz progressions, right? And we wrap up this section with, again, another funny move, like to head us back, right, to head us back here, which is sort of a bossa nova sort of turnaround that I don't want to get into, but ultimately it's a 2-5. It's a 2-5 in disguise to get back here. Now, last section, last hurdle, guys. Again, I'm not going to break it down in too much detail, but it's a redux, or like, okay, A, we've seen it. A, we've seen it again, but it went someplace else. Then we go to that someplace else for these 16 bars, right? And then we do, okay, redux. We've done A1, A2, and then we have A3, which is in classical music, they would say, well, that's a recap. So we're recapping ba ba da 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 dee da da. Strange. Blah blah. Da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 da. That launches the recap. Dee da 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 da. Again, the 4 minor. So F major, B flat minor. Dee da 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 da. And here's my favorite part that wraps up the song. They do it so well on the Quincy Jones record. Then 2, which is beautiful. So that's a long 2. That's, again, the way we get back in the A section. Don't know if you notice, it's similar to this. And then we do 2 major, so 2 dominant, 2, 5, and 1. So I went really fast through all of this. Honestly, I could probably spend an hour to decipher like what scale to use and what arpeggio and what chord, but just to keep things in perspective here, the hiccup is not necessarily to be that at a precise moment you have to use a specific arpeggio or a specific scale and else it's wrong. The real hiccup, the real challenge of this is the form length. I think I've said it enough times in this video going like, hey guys, pay attention of where you are. Look at iReal. We have the benefit. I didn't even have that coming up as a player. We have the benefit of having a cursor to sort of spoon feed us where we are in the form, right? So that's pretty magical that we have that privilege. So be mindful of where you are and repeat, and even use that feature on iReal. Outline the chords press play, slow down the tempo, and make sure that you can work on your transitions, because it's never the thing that's going to kill you. Because if you if you have a G7 sharp 11 and you have like a minute or 10 seconds or 15 seconds, you'll be fine. You will recover your arpeggio or whatever. What's happening is like these things move. So the movement is more important to capture than actually what's happening in reality with that change or with that chord specifically. It's more about we will say en français, in French, enchaîner, like we daisy chain those, and it's in the daisy chain that we have the magic of our improv, our comping, and of our chord melody. So please join us at jazzguitarlessons.net. Check out the Pinnacle Method, the free fellowship in description. Also, other videos in the Standards Navigator series for more in-depth. And what I will do is leave you with one course of just free ad-lib improvisation. Let me challenge myself with 128, and you can pick up on some ideas, and I'll try to do my best. I'll see you next time. All right, take care. Bye.
Thank you.